On my mic needs to be unmuted. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you all are well. It is a pleasure to have you here on our version of what we call MCI in Focus. This is an opportunity for us to talk to you, our community, and on behalf of you, our community, with current events. It's a moment for us on a podcast style show that will be hosted and archived on the Miami Children's Initiative YouTube channel. You will find us there. And so I know that I have a co-host somewhere around here. We've got our Nitris Williams in the background who's handling all of what is necessary for this studio work to be done, or this media pandemic studio. And so I just saw Mr. Dawkins. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, and yourself? Hope all is well with everyone.
Yes, sir. You're looking fabulous. You're looking fabulous. Happy October. What's today? The October 29th?
29th, yes. 29th.
Or is it the 30th?
No, 29th, because Halloween is on Saturday.
Yes, as a matter of fact, and Arnitris, if you bring it up, not only is Halloween Saturday, but tomorrow is a fantastic day for MCI. For those of you,
yes, we have Character Day.
Yeah, tomorrow is our 9th annual Character Day, and it's Character Day in Liberty City. And we're doing it even in a pandemic, even in a new era. We are still going to host. We can't let the children down. So if those of you are watching, we welcome you. And look, check this out. Friday, October 30th from 3:30 to 5:30. So right around this time tomorrow, we will be hosting a Zoom call with our children where we will have readers reading to our children in character. And so tomorrow, Cedric, I will be dressed as a Wakanda warrior.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yes, we'll show that video a little bit later as we move on in our show. But we're excited. And so for those of you out there watching, if you're interested in being a participant in our 9th annual Zoom Character Day, and you would like to read to children, we have Kamala Harris's children book. We need somebody to dress up as a presidential candidate. We also have by Shanika Brown, who is a Liberty City author.
Dr. Shanika Brown, yes.
Yes, who is also a Liberty City author. We are going to encourage you to dress up someone to read her book, dress up as a navigator. And so we just want to encourage you that. But listen, you didn't come on this show, or you didn't come to Watch in Focus to hear Latasha Daniels talk. We are smack dab in the middle, Mr. Dawkins, in the election season, right? Next week, this time, we would have elected a president. Next week, this time, Miami-Dade County will have a new mayor. Next week, this time, District 3 will have a new commissioner. And because we are right here in this community in Liberty City, we wanted to give candidates an opportunity in this final stretch to share with us what their thoughts and views are. And so for those of you who are watching, we're going to spend about 15 minutes with each of our candidates. We have scheduled Miss Gepsie Metellus, and everyone says, why do you always say that, Latasha? So Gepsie Metellus. I say Metellus, but Metellus, right? We'll have Miss Gepsie from 2:30 to 2:45. We'll have Commissioner Esteban Steve Bovo from 2:45 to 3 o'clock. Then at 3 o'clock, we will have Commissioner Keon Hardemon. And then from 3:15, from 3 to 3:15, and then from 3:15 to 3:30, we're going to have Miss Danielle Levine Cava. And so I just need to know, because our Nitris is away from me, I need to know who's in the studio. Miss Williams, our guest lined up. Are we ready to go? Let's see how. If not, then I got some things we can share with the audience. Let me know, Arnitra. All right, there we go. We have our first candidate on. Hello. Listen, did you hear me talking about Metellus or Metellus? So would you please, young lady, welcome. We'd like to welcome you to In Focus with MCI. Listen, we wanted to have you scheduled a few weeks ago on our radio show, but we found a way to make this happen and give you an opportunity to have a voice in a moment with our Facebook audience and our social media platform. So please introduce yourself, lovely and green. Please introduce yourself.
Well, good afternoon, Ms. Latusha. Or Latasha.
Listen, there we go. I love it. Yes.
Ms. Danielle, so you can say Metellus. I say Metellus. Other people say Metellus. Mm-hmm. And so, it's a relatively versatile last name.
Yes.
And so it accommodates whatever your phonetic easiness is, right?
Listen, I had a grandma, and grandma had 12 children, and all 12 of those children had at least one child. And so when we would go around her in Greenville, Alabama, she would say, Arita, Atasha, Yvette, girl, you know I'm talking to you. You know your name. You know. So we feel like you know our names, right? Well, listen, tell me quickly, give us 2 minutes, just a quick bio and a quick introduction for those who have not voted yet, because we're hitting record numbers and people early voting. But of course, we've seen the ads, we've seen the newspaper, but this is Gepsie's moment to talk to the community, a Liberty City community, more especially, about who Gepsie Metellus is. So give me about 2 minutes of who you are and how you came to make your desire or this path into political office.
Excellent. Thank you again, Latasha. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great opportunity to be with you. And so who is Gepsie? Gepsie is a nonprofit leader, a former educator, a community activist, a community leader, a force to be reckoned with, someone whose vision for this community understands the urgency of the moment, understands that we have to move very boldly, given the fact that we're going through a number of situations and issues that are really shaking us to our core. And so it's an opportunity to reimagine, remake, and reshape our communities. And so as this 37-year community servant, right, I indicated that I served as educator right here in the Liberty City area, that feeder pattern, the Miami Edison feeder pattern. I've always worked right here in District 3. My nonprofit was initially located in District 3, but given the socioeconomic forces that are challenging all of us, I'm talking about gentrification. And so our offices too needed to move to North Miami, to a place that was, affordable for us, right? And so I am this person who has always been very vertical in what I do, who's always been authentic in my relationships with people, who's always been community-minded, community-focused, who's always been about the thick we as opposed to the individual I. I've always been someone that you can predict, where I'm going to be. I'm going to always be on the side of community. I'm going to be there when we're laughing. I'm going to be there when we're crying. I'm going to be there when we're strategizing about our collective future. And I'm going to be at the table of solutions when we're together, in coalitions, trying to identify what we need to do, what pieces we need to move forward, and addressing and resolving the issues that impact us in this community. So I stress all of this to remind you all that I have been in this community. I have served in this community. I understand the issues and the needs of this community and its diversity and its multicultural, multi-ethnic diversity. And so offering myself as someone who can represent you, someone who can go to bat for you, someone who will be your proxy at the county commission level is of course a prolongation, if I can say it that way, of my lifelong career of service.
So, Gepsie, wow, that's phenomenal. 37 years in this community. You have served in the educational feeder patterns that, so you understand. Here we are, Miami Children's Initiative. We're committed to the children of this community. And so to have someone who has that sensitivity is significant, and someone who understands how diverse this community is becoming. I applaud you on that. But I do want to applaud you. I was supposed to open with that, to applaud you in making it to a runoff, right? This is that, you made it over the first hurdle, and now we're making it on, and you're running strong to next week. But let me ask you some very specific questions about District 3. What are, and these are the same questions we're going to ask all of our candidates that are on. What are your funding priorities for District 3?
And so without necessarily listing them in order, right? The priorities collectively are around stabilizing families, right? Stabilizing families with assuring that basic needs are met, and basic needs is food, it's housing, it's health, right? It's also about shoring up our business community, right? It's about valuing our small businesses to provide them with the support, the resources, and the opportunities they need to thrive, to scale, to expand, and to make a great impact for all of us, not just in District 3, but for Miami-Dade County in general. So for me, the priority is investing in people and investing in our businesses.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So people, business, which keeps the economy going, and understanding the needs of this. So what would you say are some points of weaknesses within our district that you would aim to improve?
Oh my goodness, there's several things, right? Things that are within the county's purview and things that are outside the county's purview. So let's begin with education, which I know is near and dear to all of you who do this significant work at MCI. We know that without investing in education, without giving our children an opportunity to succeed, we're not building community, and certainly we're not passing on any significant legacy. So for me, it's about ensuring that our children have access to career opportunities, that their horizons be broadened around career options, around business opportunities, around financial, not just capabilities, but financial education, so that they can be armed with the tools they need to succeed. Beyond that, we're talking about the right mixture of enrichment activities for our kids. Our kids need to be involved in, some sports, the sports that build discipline. They need to be engaged in sports that build a mind, such as chess. I think our children need additional support around academic achievement, right? Because too many of our children live in households where the parents are not equipped, either because they don't have the adequate educational background or they don't have the skills to help the kids. And so this is an area that I believe that we need to partner very strongly with the school district, with the Children's Trust, with the nonprofit sector, in particular, those organizations that work with youth, right? And so I think if we're going to really give our children a second chance, or a chance rather, not a second chance, but a chance at success, a shot at success, we need to invest at this fundamental level. One other thing that the county did most recently that I believe we need to expand throughout District 3, and that is an opportunity for the creation of children's savings accounts provided to each kindergartner whose family meets a certain income level throughout the district. I think it's a bold statement to say to a child, to a family, to a community, we value and believe in our children. We want them to succeed. And here we are seeding that success, because we know that CSAs generally guarantee high school graduation, guarantee, some sort of upward mobility, either to college or a training opportunity of the child's choosing. We know from the data thus far that CSAs make a significant impact. So I would want to do that as well. Beyond the CSAs, we're talking prosperity. Let me tell you, We
and I
understand.
gotta cut, and I'm so sorry, I gotta cut you off because I need to ask you one other question, because we do have Commissioner Bovo already in the studio and already ready to come on. But let me just say this to you, just two questions. Equity is so important, and you potentially will be one of the only minority women on the DS representing. And I want to know a little bit of what you think. I mean, as we've just moved into confirming a new Supreme Court justice and adding, they're saying this is the year of the woman and all of this. I want to hear that. And so I'm going to give you a minute to talk about what equity means to you, because of course, in the George Floyd and all of the Breonna Thomas, all of this, equity is so important to us, and equality. And then I want to ask you if there are any things that you feel have negatively reflected you in the press that you would like to close with, that would be more succinctly referring to who you are and what your campaign are. Okay, I'm going to give you these last 2 minutes, and I'm going to make sure they let Commissioner Bovo know he'll be coming on at 2:49. All right, there you go. Go right ahead.
Time is never enough for these important
Never. It goes so quick. Yes.
But without going necessarily into details around what I believe equity looks like and how you guarantee equity, let me just tell us all, or remind us all, that the disparities we are talking about impact Black people, brown people, and different ways, correct? We also know that in terms of housing, in terms of wealth, in terms of educational attainment, again, brown and Black communities fare the worst, right? And so if we know that this is the problem, right? If the problem is reflected in such stark and clear racial and ethnic terms, the solution ought to be approached from a racial and ethnic perspective as well, a racial and ethnic approach. And so for me, equity means, providing to that community that has the most to make up the most resources.
I love it.
Right?
Okay. And then any last statement about anything you want to say to our community that you would like to clear up?
Very good. And so I know that most of you know me to be someone of distinction, someone who is not necessarily, who's never ever comfortable in the dirt, right? And so I want to point out to each and everyone watching us right now that I denounce the lies, the malicious lies that have been promoted in a systematic media campaign about me. I did not steal any money. I did not take any money, right? And if anybody, I dare or challenge anybody who has evidence to the contrary, I welcome that they take it to Kathy Fernandez-Rundle's office, right? And so because I believe that when people are desperate, when people such as my opponent does not have a good record to stand on, cannot defend his inactions, or cannot defend his lack of outrage with conditions socio and economic in Liberty City, so he would resort to this character assassinations, to these baseless accusations, malicious and deceitful accusations. This is a shame, and this simply reflects someone who has his own issues, right? And I'm too much of a lady to call him by the name he deserves, right? Because at the end of the day, District 3 residents do not need this BS. They want the truth. They want somebody who's going to be accountable, who's going to be accessible, who's going to be transparent, who's not in this game for themselves, but rather to support and uplift community, right? And so I challenge Mr. Hardemon to offer me an opportunity to debate him in any forum with the community so that we can compare notes around who has been corrupt in this community.
Wow. Okay. So I think you said, okay. All right. We heard what you had to say. You were very clear. And we will be having him on in just a little bit. We thank you, Gepsie, for your commitment. We look forward to seeing how the community will respond. We wanted to hear from you. We want to hear from all of our candidates. And we, again, congratulate you on making it, that the community felt and had enough trust in who you have been and who you are to say, hey, we look at her. We want to look at her again. And so we say best wishes to you. And here at Miami Children's Initiative, we say thank you for your continued service to this community. Thank you.
For your work and this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you very much for joining us, Gepsie. Have a great day. All right, guys. I think we had Commissioner Bovo in. That was a little hot, right? That was a little hot. Where's Cedric? Cedric, did you leave me in the studio by myself? You left me.
I'm here.
Woo, it's on fire. It's getting hot in her. Woo.
Yes, that was a little juicy.
That was a little juicy. All right, Arnitris, I need Commissioner Bovo. Bring him on in, please. I put it in the chat. Let's, if he's still here, let's bring. Hello.
How are you?
Listen, we are so happy to have you here. So we know you are running hard. You are just a week out. By this time next week, we'll have a mayor of Miami-Dade County, right?
I hope it's me, yes.
Well, Commissioner Bovo, listen, I had my staff laughing. I said, listen, I need to talk to Steve Bovo. And they were like, there's no Steve Bovo. That's Esteban Bovo. I say, listen, in my community, it say Steve. I don't know what y'all talking about, but I need to meet with Steve Bovo. So welcome to In Focus here with MCI, who we're here committed to the children and families of Liberty City. Won't you give us a moment to better know who Esteban, who is Steve? Why don't you tell us a little bit of something about who you are, sir?
Yeah, so I've gone by the name Steve since I was a little kid, but my parents named me Esteban after my dad, so I got to honor my dad, right, and make sure that everybody knows my name. But I do answer to Steve. And look, I started my campaign about a year ago, a little bit over a year ago, with a very clear message. I wanted to make sure that the taxpayers and what county government was designed to do fulfilled its mission. You know, many of us that own a home and pay taxes expect some quality service that really is based on quality of life, where we expect police to show up in 2 or 3 minutes, just like fire department. We expect the grass in our parks to be cut and maintained, water and sewer, garbage pickup. That's what we do in county government. That's our main function. And I feel that sometimes we fail at that function by trying to be everything to everybody. And so the whole purpose of my campaign was just let's kind of refocus what we're supposed to do. Let's do it right. And then we could go ahead and do other things. But, that's been the basis. And that's what we've been saying from day one. Haven't changed our message. We've been very consistent from the very beginning of this campaign.
And I will say, I want to thank you that last year here in our district, we had actually at our back door, we had 2 sisters murdered on the back door of where we do community service in PSU, or in Annie Coleman Housing Project. And you were right on the scene. You were right there with us. From your district office, you gave funds to support us in doing an extravaganza so that the children could come out and feel free to enjoy a day of fun, even in the midst of that kind of violence. And so I want to tell you, I want the community to know it's a poor frog that doesn't praise its own pond, or it's not right. Wrong, no right, or right, no wrong, nobody. So when you do right, we want this community to know that you have been invested, that this isn't a Johnny come lately, but you've been invested in this community. And so, but tell me a little bit about your district, more specifically, and who your constituents are, so we better understand potentially what you would do, or who you've represented as you would potentially join us as mayor.
Yeah, sure. So I've been representing as a council member, as a state representative, and really as a commissioner, the same geographical area, Northwest Dade County. Normally Hialeah, but then as I ran for state rep in the commission, it included Miami Lakes and all the way up to the county line on the northwest end of the county, pieces of Miami Gardens, and then west. I've made no bones about it. For the most part, I've represented people that look like me, talk like me, and ate at the same restaurants I ate. And once I decided to run for mayor, one of the things I realized I needed to do And I want you to know, I never became a commissioner with this grand plan that I was going to run for mayor. I just felt the timing was there. I thought I still had something to offer my community. And, it's been an education. I've been able to go out into the community, learn about different things that go on. I've actually learned something that probably, better said, confirmed something. We're not a divided community. You want the same things I want for my family. We want the exact same things, opportunity, our kids to be able to play in the front yard, peace of mind. We don't want government being an interrupter or an obstacle in our lives, but we want it to help us. And to me, it's been kind of like interesting, this transformation of visiting people. People in Homestead want the same thing that people in Liberty City want.
Absolutely.
People that live in Hialeah want the same things that people in Goulds want. So to me, it's been just a confirmation. There is more that unite us and divide us. And I want to make my mayorship about uniting us and working on the things that we have in common. And when we do that, we'll find the things we don't have in common. They start kind of going by the wayside.
So Commissioner Bovo, that speaks volumes to me, because I think it is significant to note that oftentimes Miami has been perceived as a melting pot that doesn't melt. That we have these segments of Miami where, as you used example, you got Hialeah or Little Havana, and then you've got Liberty City, and you've got Overtown, and then you've got South Miami. However, the needs of humans that make up this county are all the same. People want food, they want shelter, they want respect, and they want to feel good about when they go to work, they can feel good about what they bring home. I believe that. I mean, they want they want healthcare, they want to feel good, and they want to feel safe. And so it's good that you're openly saying that, listen, I stepped outside of my comfort zone. And in stepping out of my comfort zone, I am open to all facets of the community. So can we say to this community that they would have a seat at your table, that they would have access to you as mayor to have conversation? And what would that look like?
Well, I'll tell you, it would be a monumental failure on my part if, God willing, I'm the mayor. If what we're doing here today is just a conversation that doesn't go beyond a relationship, right?
Right.
We need to work together. You stated, we got involved when, because quite honestly, as a father of 5, I'm outraged anytime I hear a situation that a drive-by shooting, some child got killed, that we'll never know what the potential of that child is. There could be a future Supreme Court justice. There could be a doctor, an engineer, the next LeBron James, the next baseball player. We don't know what potential is lost by, senseless gun violence. And for me, it might have not happened in my district, but it happened in my county. And I needed to make sure that as a father, I had to stand up and show that I was outraged. And again, I want you to know, and I know some might not believe it, but I never really thought about running for mayor until literally almost about 6 or 7 months before I announced it. My wife had to give the okay. If not, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
so.
Very good. Well, a happy wife, a happy life.
Oh, yeah. I learned that lesson a long, long time ago. So, for me, we need to just highlight the things that unite us, and then we could work on the things that divide us. I feel very strongly that county government can be an equalizer on government contracts, on opportunities for folks. But I always want to stay pure to my message. If you own a home and you pay taxes, there are a couple of things that we're going to agree on. Number one, you probably pay too much in taxes. So you want to make sure that money's being spent wisely on the services that help your quality of life. And for me, that's fundamentally important. That's what I'd like us to achieve as county government. And I think we get there by cooperating and being transparent. If I don't have anything up my sleeve, and I don't, then you could trust me that we're going to work together. And I need your input in order to make sure, we're trying to hit all the markers that are important for service.
And I think that leads us right into my next kind of 2 questions. And then we're going to give you time to get on, because I know you're hot and heavy and on the campaign trail. But organizations like mine in the urban core, we are kind of your backbone. And so what kind of prioritization for community-based organizations that are supporting you, that what government falls short, we're taking up the slack. And so what kind of prioritizations will be in your mayoral budget in consideration for helping the little leagues of Liberty City, which keep children home, keep them safe, or, the after school programs? What kind of provisions do you have or thoughts you have, is more especially about those in the urban core? And then lastly, if there is any thing you'd like to correct that's been in the news or in ad campaigns, we would allow you to close with those two things. So prioritization for community-based, and anything you want to share that could clear something up.
Yeah, so thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, and I will tell you that I grew up in our park programs. For me, the park was a haven. Me, all my friends, our crew back then. We were playing basketball all day long.
You don't know about no basketball.
You would be surprised. You would be surprised. So we would always be out in the park. That was our babysitter, quite honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was due to park programming that was invested. We invest in our neighborhoods. We invest money in these programs so our kids not only can feel safe while they're using the parks, parents can have a little bit of peace of mind that their kids are doing something that's not, hanging out or doing something wrong, right? Same concerns my parents had when I was growing up. And, I applaud the not-for-profits. They fill the gaps that government sometimes can't get to. I like to just do things where there is outcome based, we measure outcomes, and then I support that. What I've seen in many instances, quite honestly, is that we invest money and they're not going into the community. It's either just paying a salary or doing something that is not outcome based. And I think that's something that I'd like to be able to work on as mayor. And I would tell you, look, as campaigns go, it is what it is. We're living in an era now where they just throw up everything at you. I know my DNA. I know where I come from. I'm very humble and I'm very grounded. I'm the oldest of 5. I've got two brothers, 2 sisters that will remind me very quickly who I am if I think I'm getting too big for my britches.
Okay.
And I've been blessed. I know the people I represent historically, blue collar folks that work hard every single day, and that's all in my DNA. And that's my commitment. I respect those that work dirty on a daily basis. I have probably more respect for those folks I do than maybe those that sit in a suit and tie. And my commitment is just to make sure that I represent each and every one of them.
Okay, I want to ask this, and I got Keon Hardemon in the studio, so I got to bring him on, and I will let you go. I got to ask this question though, because some people who look like me are a little bit afraid of Bovo because they feel that he's going to completely support the Trump agenda, where many of them feel that they are left out in that agenda. Yeah. I'm going to allow you to address that as you're concluding. And again, thank you so much, Commissioner Bovo, and much success in your campaign endeavors. Would you conclude on that, just speaking to this district?
Absolutely. So here's what, first and foremost, let me say hello to Keon, who's coming after me, and good luck in your race. And let me say this. I would hope that folks in the community would look at the 9 years that I've served on the Board of County Commission and judge me on the 9 years that I've been serving the board as a chairman, as a transportation chair. Judge the work that I have been doing to make sure that we move the needle in our community that impacts all of our areas. Judge me by the work I've done with the Circle of Brotherhood. Judge me by the work I've done with Florida Memorial University. Judge me by that, and then I'll accept the outcome. Don't tag me to somebody else. You don't like Donald Trump, don't vote for him, but he ain't going to take out your garbage tomorrow, okay?
Commissioner Bovo, it's been a distinct pleasure. Again, thank you for your service and commitment to this community. And again, we wish you the best on your campaign endeavors. And it's been a distinct pleasure, sir. Thank you very much. Have a great day. And now we'll bring on Commissioner Keon Hardemon. Bye-bye, sir. All right, guys. Mr. Dawkins, you in the back studio, man. It's a live wire over here. What you got to say over here?
Yes, well, you were asking all the right questions, and that last one was a burning question that I know a lot of people, have in the back of their minds. So that was good for him to address that.
Thank you. Stay on. Come on, let's bring on Commissioner Keon Hardemon, a fellow bull. There we go. Bull in the house.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Listen, thank you. Listen, we want to first open up, Keon. We know that you're running hard, but we'll certainly that we want to extend our love and support to you and your family. Just know that we know that you're a case. If you lift up that picture, the case will come on. But we want you to know, we know you're not superhuman, but you're very human. And so we're feeling your pain and know that we love you over here in this. We want to say that to you first. But how are you today?
I'm blessed and highly favored. So
I'm
a happy guy today. You can't be happy.
Well, good. Well, sir, we have been running. We started out with we just had Mr. Esteban, and now we want to spend some time with you. And so I'm answering the same question that I asked Ms. Metellus. I'm asking you, is that my background? They're saying there's a little feedback from me. Let's see. All right. We have nothing else on. But anyway, we're going to ride out. Are you getting a little feedback, Mr. Hardemon?
You kind of, your tone goes in and out. So I'm not sure what it was from.
Okay, hold on one moment. Marnifris, get my AirPods, and we're going to keep this going. We're going to make the best out of this. So, Keon, I don't have to talk. We're going to let you talk. That's the best part about this. So tell us just what you think this district does not know. Tell us 2 minutes about Keon Hardemon, who he is, those beautiful children I'm already telling. Tell us who you are as an individual while we stuff on this side.
Well, as an individual, I think that people realize that I was born and raised right here in this community in District 3. I am a child of a single parent, a mother who eventually became a police officer, but she served in the armed forces as in the Army. And she left me with my family. My grandmother had 15 kids, and while she was away, they cared for me. And I was one of those kids that was in our communities that were difficult to serve. So to be here and be able to achieve success, like graduating from high school and college with bachelors and all degrees and things of that nature, and then come back to serve my community as a public defender, there's no greater wish that I could have ever had. And now to have completed a term as Miami City Commissioner and be vying for Miami-Dade County Commissioner, I just don't. There aren't many of us who have had this path. And so what I like to do is show the kids who were born just like me, without all the advantages that everyone else was given, that you can do much with good decision-making, hard work, and education. And as of today, my life has changed greatly since I was first elected to the Miami City Commission. And since then, I was married, bought a house, and I had 2 beautiful little girls. So, my life is very full right now. And I'm a much different person, if you will, than I was when I was first elected. And I can smell the roses a little bit better. And I think that makes me a better commissioner, because it makes me someone who could better relate to all the experiences within my neighborhoods, not just the ones that I was raised on.
Well, it looks like it makes you human, right? And that you had a this is going to help. Does that help a little bit?
That did help a little bit, yes.
All right. So, why don't we bring on Cedric and let him ask us? I'm having problems. But listen, I want you to know, Commissioner, you are spot on. You are a product of this community who were one of the ones who made it. And often we find difficulties with opportunities for youth in this community. What would be a part of your agenda that would open new opportunities? Or what's a part of your agenda for the youth of this community?
Well, first, it's about enhancing the services that we already have. So, there are lots of organizations that provide great services to our community. One, of course, is MCI. And I think that your work speaks for itself. Forget what it was modeled after. Let's think about what it does for people in our community. And I've said as an ex-official member of the MCI board, I've always had representation there since the time I came in as a city commissioner. And I'll tell you, because our districts, they border each other, really, right? And so the work that you do affects the kids that I serve, but I have a very limited budget in the city of Miami to be able to affect a lot of the change that I have within the district. So we focus a lot of our attention on those resources for kids, for parks and education. We give money directly to schools. We've done a tremendous amount of things. We've deployed kids not only during the summer, but also throughout the year through our youth employment program. We're about creating opportunities for kids to have success. And what I envision is that we're going to continue doing that in Miami-Dade County to ensure that people who are already getting these services and the organization that providing these services have an opportunity to continue to provide those services. So one. But two, really start to demand more for these children. Right? I think that the kids in our community deserve more opportunities to make money. Right? They deserve more opportunities to earn a living so they can provide for their households. That's a reality that many young people who live in those communities have to face. And if adults don't realize that, then we're going to lose them. That's why we lose kids to the streets. Not because they want to be there, but because it affords them the ability to have lights, water, dinner, and clothing. And so if people don't catch on to that, then we're going to miss that. And so expanding the youth employment program to give kids more opportunities to earn skills, and earn dollars, and work for honest living. The minimum wage is what I'm about. Because I want our children to have pride in their employment, to have pride in honor in working, and to know what it feels like not to have to look over your shoulder when you make $1 or $2.
When you make $1. Yes. And so I'm glad you have a sensitivity and understanding that the basic needs, as I shared with Commissioner Bovo, that most people just want to be able to work. They want to live. They want to eat. They want to have a little extra cash in their pocket to floss or to flashlight every now and then just to feel good about that. But they want to be able to feel safe.
Yes.
So what would you think are some of our district weaknesses and what are some of our district strengths in District 3 and how would you address those?
Right. So obviously I think safety is a major issue in District 3. Now District 3 is diverse, just like the city of Miami, District 5, right? So there's some places where safety is not quite an issue, and there are other places where it is. So when we talk about these things, I'm talking about it from the lens that MCI works. So MCI is not working necessarily in the design district or the Upper East Side. That's not what their calling is. So I'm not going to necessarily speak to that. I'll speak to where your work is. And when I think about places like Liberty City, Little Haiti, Overtown, where you have troubled teenagers, right? Troubled youth. We have to understand that if we want to solve the problems that come with crime, that we can't just hire more police officers. We can't just put money in grown people to preach to children. We have to give them opportunities to do something for themselves. So I'm just a believer that and that's how youth employment program kind of came about. Instead of me giving $1 million to an organization to hire adults to put these kids through certain programming, let's hire the kids themselves. Let me hire the kids that are the quote unquote gangbangers. Let me hire the kids that are causing all the trouble. And what I found in that is that when they've been working with us, they've met professionals, they've been trained proficiently, they've opened bank accounts. They've really been brought into the fold. And I've had kids actually say that I'm the breadwinner of the family because I make $10 an hour. Right, and that's a real thing. Yeah. And so what I want to do is give them more of an opportunity to do that, because I believe that if they can pick up a paycheck, they'll put down a gun. They don't need it. And so I just want to really focus on economic development in District 3 in places where there is not any. And to me, that means creating the infrastructure so that you can have plug and play businesses. And what that means is right now, if you go onto a major corridor, the infrastructure may not be there to support your business. You may need new pipes, you may need new sewer lines, etc. So before you sell your first hot dog, the county wants you to invest $500,000 in infrastructure. That's not to include impact fees and things of that nature. So what I believe that the county has a responsibility to do is to use its resources improve the public infrastructure so that business and take its land that you may not have because it's being given away, but take its land that it does have and actually develop commercial structures on it. So people could be on the first floor, on the second floor, and you can start your business.
Wow.
Without having to do that. And also to give them, because we'll be the landowners in that scenario, to give those small business owners breaks for the first year so that they can get their feet wet and get to get the businesses going. I believe.
And employ others in the community.
Exactly. And what happens is, if we have a stronger commercial corridor in our neighborhoods, we can provide employment opportunities for people that live there in those neighborhoods, and people will stop in our neighborhood. Right now, there is no reason for you to stop in Liberty City from 7th Avenue to 32nd Avenue. There's no reason for you to stop, except if you want to maybe have breakfast at pastime. But other than that, you're not stopping anywhere for lunch. You're not stopping anywhere for dinner. You're not stopping anywhere for a late night drink. There is nothing of service to the community, and that's what commercial corridors are all about. But when you go to other neighborhoods, I mean, you can have a steak dinner, you can have wine, you can buy a nice dress, I mean, you can do lots of things that make the community better. So I truly believe that the reason that our neighbors are suffering is because of the lack of investment in the commercial corridors. And it's a shame because the county could do more to support that growth.
So I'm going to wrap up with these 3 questions, and I'm going to let you do it in one. How will you address equity? Because gentrification is very real in our community, right? This community is changing and evolving. And the MCI audience that we served in our origin 10 years ago is not necessarily the audience that we're going to be serving in the next 10 years.
Yes.
And so when we talk about empowerment zones or business corridors, how does it benefit those who are already here? Because we know the influx is coming to change that. What would be a part of your plan? And then lastly, and we gave Gepsie considerable enough time to talk about this, what would be something you'd like to clear up that has been in ads or anything like that? What would you like to, we want to give you a moment to share that. And so those are mine. And then, so we'll give you the 2:20 to talk about those things, okay? And then we'll bring on Danielle Levine Cava.
Okay, well, the first thing I say is that in the city of Miami, right, I championed the Miami Forever Bond. And the Miami Forever Bond, personally, I moved, it increased from $20 million to $100 million for affordable housing and economic development. And what that did was create an opportunity, truly, for people who already live in the neighborhoods to get improvements on their property for free. So there are grants so they can have high impact windows and doors and improve the roofs of their houses to make them storm resistant. And so it encourages them to stay there. What I've been doing in the city of Miami is making pride in people's place. So giving people who already live in these spaces pride to actually stay in their community. And that's why people are so happy about the changes that are happening in places like Overtown, where I have the resources. And so what you'll see in Miami-Dade County is me creating that same exact pride. We just cut the ribbon on a $2 million turf field at Charles County Park. And I looked over to one of the state representatives. I said, do you have this type of park in Brownsville? And he shook his head, no. And that's our problem. And so we need to create these world-class facilities all over our communities, especially in communities where people have a hard time getting employment, where they have a hard time with diseases and things of that nature. And so that's one thing. And the second thing, it's interesting. I don't think there's anything that I need to clear up because I think my reputation is very clear in this community about my successes. I know that lately people have been attempting to say, I know, for instance, my competition, Gepsie, she said that she's been attacked with baseless accusations about her dealings and with her organization, Sunlaw. But I want to remind everyone that I have never had to lie on anyone in my life. I'm not a person who deals in untruths. I'm a member of the Florida Bar, and I deal honestly. And when you take a look at this letter that Father Reggie of the Church of Notre Dame wrote to Gepsie Metellus about her untruths and her IRS filings, it's all there. So anything that you've seen that's been put on a commercial regarding Gepsie Metellus, I'm not hiding my hand with that. It's true. She did file saying that she gave an organization that's affiliated with the church $120,000. She didn't do it. Father Reggie said she didn't do it. In the letter, she said that she attempted to reach out to him many, many times, and he said that that's not true. I was with you every 2 weeks and sometimes once a week, and you never brought it up. In fact, Father Reggie said, I told you I didn't want anything to do with this money, and I thought that you would destroy the check, and you didn't. So this is not something that I've created to make Gepsie look any type of way. It's just the truth. It has nothing to do with me. It has all to do with the priest. So you have to ask yourself, do you believe Gepsie Metellus or Father Reggie?
Wow. 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 Well, I wanted to give you this moment, Commissioner Hardemon. Thank you for your commitment to Northwestern. Thank you for your thank you for your commitment to this community. We applaud your outstanding career. We applaud your commitment that you have had with MCI. Thank you for always being there for us and supporting us and this district. And so next week, this time, we'll know what we'll be saying. So thank you so much for being with us. And we're going to now bring on Danielle, Levine, Cava. Thank you so much, Commissioner, and best wishes to you and your family, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. All right, we keeping this ball rolling. How y'all doing out there? Social media platforms. If you got some questions or something, bring them on in for us. But come on, let's bring into the studio now Miss Danielle Levine Cava. Woo, 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 woo. Hello, Commissioner.
Hello. I'm not.
Uh-oh. So it looks like she is driving, and we knew that she was going to be on the road, and so we'll just our Nitras just bring her back in. There you go. There you're back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Now I hear you. Great.
So hello, and thank you for taking of your busy time. Listen, we know that you guys are hot and heavy. We've spoken with Gepsie. We've spoken with Bovo. We just hung up with Keon. And so we know that this time next week, we're going to be celebrating new mayor, right? And so
Yes. Amen to that. Amen.
And so let me run real quick with you because I know you're between appointments. For District 3 and for this Liberty City community and the social media platforms, tell us who Danielle Levine Cava is. If they don't know, please let us know.
Thank you. Well, I'm a 40-year lover of this place. I started my career at Northside Shopping Center. I served Liberty City. I was all over Scott, Carver. I was all over Liberty Square. I was all over representing people to make sure they got what they needed in the community. I worked with a lot of public housing tenants. I also represented children in their cases in the school system to make sure they got what they needed to do well in school and thrive and not be left behind without getting the services they need. Then I went on from legal services to the Guardian Ad Litem program, and I ran that program for a while, working to make sure children got the services they needed from the system and to support families to take care of those children. And then I started a nonprofit called Catalyst Miami now, but it was Human Services Coalition in the day.
Okay.
And of course, we've worked all over the community as well. And we did partner with MCI. We were part of the original application for MCI.
And listen, and you're still a part of it. Catalyst is still a part of our family, even great. In its new evolution, right? And how things are being developed there. But so you kind of took my next question to talk about Catalyst Miami. As the founder, what would be your agenda? Because you understand what it's like to serve this community. What would be your agenda for organizations like Miami Children's Initiative, the other community-based organizations, as I said to Commissioner Bovo, who really fill the gaps where government stopped?
For sure.
What would be your prioritization or your thoughts as it relates to nonprofits, and what would be a part of your mayoral agenda?
Yeah, well, I am a nonprofit baby. I spent most of my career in the nonprofit sector, and not only just running nonprofits, but starting others and supporting nonprofits to be effective. And just like you say, it's a partnership in the community. It's not just that government can't do all of the work, it's that the nonprofits really are closer to the people. They're so often created right there in the community by people that really care about and know the community. And so they have the trust that government might not have. So I've always done my work through intermediaries with the nonprofits and supporting them. I have a small business accelerator in my district that includes nonprofits and for-profits.
Amazing.
And we have a nonprofit academy that we've run every year, and a small business academy. We gave out grants, helped nonprofits to become advocates, train them how to come down to the county commission and speak about their needs and get money for their programs. So all the kind of back office support that they need to be effective, as well as to collaborate. So I believe really strongly that nonprofits are the closest to the people. They're the hands and the feet in the communities. They hire in the community. They, all of that. But I do have to say that there is a difference between me and my opponent on this point, because he kind of has been saying that he thinks government should stick to the basics, like police and fire, potholes, transportation.
He did open with that. He did share that with us even today.
Yes, and opening and garbage, pick up garbage. And look, I would say those are the beginnings of what government has to do. Those are the physical requirements, but the well-being of our people is definitely county government's responsibility. Doesn't mean a government does it alone, does it in partnership. Back in the day, the county spent a lot more money in partnership with nonprofits than they do today.
Metro Miami, not Metro Dade.
Yeah.
Before Miami-Dade, there was you found Metro Dade human service offices and so many field offices that did the work, as you suggest, especially in this community. What we call those safety nets were right here in this community.
Correct. I completely feel that we need to, especially in this time of the pandemic, when people's health is suffering and the economy is in a tailspin, this is not the time to say, oh, let's get back to basics. This is the time to make sure that we are taking care of people's basic needs. And these are basic: food and shelter, access to jobs, helping our small businesses to recover from what we're going through. So that's the kind of mayor I'll be. And I also want to emphasize that for the Black community that has been left behind in contracting and procurement, in hiring and promotion, in county government, my plan is to be very aggressive about that, create an office of equity and inclusion that makes sure we make up for those wrongs, sets aggressive goals, monitors, and changes the programs and policies. So I'm very excited that as mayor, I'll be able to see in a new era when we can really address those things head on. And that's what I've done my whole career, but I've never had the chance to do it as mayor. So I am just chomping at the bit to get up there and get it right.
So listen, you're an easy interviewer because you're smack right where I want to be. Let me just ask you these last two questions, as I know you're moving. There has been a tremendous stance with this whole defunding police and what that looks like, and that I've asked each candidate to share if there was something that they wanted to clear up, any ads that have misrepresented you, to share with this community so that we can get a better image. But one of the things that's been a flagship is that Danielle Levine Cava wants to defund police. And so talk to us, because of course, in an era of George Floyd and Breonna, Taylor, we need to hear what your approach is, and we're open to that. And then anything you in your closing remarks that you want to clear up that has been said in any ads or on television.
Thank you so much. Yeah, well, this is just a flat out lie. Even the Miami Herald, that's doing ad checking, put it out in a newspaper article that it was a lie. My opponent is waving around a memo that came from Deputy Mayor Kemp, in which it was said that this independent civilian panel could cost up to 1% of the police budget, but it wasn't, first of all, ever voted on. It was his memo, and that's not what happened. because none of us wanted to take that money out of the police budget. So it isn't 1%, it's much less, and it's funded separately from that. So it's just a flat out lie. Not only to say that every year I've been on the commission, not only have I voted for increase in police budget, but I've lobbied for the police increased budget. And I was successful in getting 80 new officers in South Dade. We had growing population and inadequate public safety. I was successful in getting plans moving forward and purchase of property for a new district police station in South Dade. I restored police 24/7 service in the agricultural area that was lacking. And okay, someone's at my window telling us we need to move.
Okay.
So it's a flat out lie. And actually my opponent in 2014 voted to cut police spending and also to make police officers pay more out of their salaries for their health insurance. So actually he's the one that defunded police. I've never defunded police, and I've been super clear with everyone that I would not defund police. Now, what I do have is an agenda that's about making people more comfortable with police in the communities where there is lack of trust. So I supported independent civilian panel because that will help people to have a voice if they do have complaints or concerns. I think it's worked very well in the city of Miami. It's worked well in other parts of the country. I did support it. My opponent didn't. That's why the Police Benevolent Association didn't support me this race. They supported me my last two races. As a matter of fact, they supported me in my first run in 2014 against my incumbent, who was voting with my opponent today to do the very things we're talking about. And that's why they supported me. They supported me because she was defunding police and making them pay money out of their salaries for health insurance. So, let's be super clear. This is a scare tactic. This is creating fear, trying to create fear. And that's because he's got nothing else to say. So I stand with our police who are doing in the county a very good job. We have truly state-of-the-art training that people are going to learn more about because they've been kind of keeping it a secret for 2 years. But they are tackling head-on issues of bias and overreaction. So I feel very, very comfortable that our police is moving in the right direction, and I'm very eager to move forward with that.
So as we conclude and say thank you, are you nervous about being the first woman potential as being, and how would we rest? Some people say, oh, a woman can't handle that job.
Oh,
but,
yeah, right.
What does that mean? The woman who rocks the cradle rocks the world, right? But talk to us as you conclude, and I say thank you in our concluding statement. What would you say to those who say, I don't know how I feel about a woman running this large county, such a major city in our United States of America?
I haven't had a lot of people say that to me. Nobody has said it to my face. Truthfully, a woman's touch is needed. It's definitely needed now. We need compassion. We need collaboration. We need kindness. This is something that has been lacking in our county government. But not only that, I am actually the person with the most experience from a management perspective. I've run my nonprofit. That was a multi-million-dollar operation. I ran the state foster care system here. I've started dozens of organizations. My opponent does not have that kind of experience that I do. And also I'm a change agent. I have a proven record of bringing innovation to solve problems, very practical. And, by the way, I have support across the aisle. I have Democratic supporters, Republican supporters, independent supporters. I'm so proud of that because people know I'm honest. They know that I have no special interests that are pulling my chain. I am doing this for the love of the community, of the people, and I want to get it right. And honestly, this is my chance, age 65, not just woman, but a proud, wise woman.
You go, girl. You go, girl.
And I am not nervous. I am ready.
There you go. Well, thank you, Danielle Levine Cava. It is always an absolute delight. Thank you for your commitment to this county, to this district. Thank you for what you've done, partnering with MCI, partnering with other organizations. And listen, I've seen you at every walk. No one's had to ask you to come. You've been at parades. You've been in community meetings. And so you're not a stranger to this community, and we welcome you in
Yes,
this
ma'am.
community.
That's it. May I just say this? Please check it out, Daniela.vote. That's my website. And on there, you can get the details of my Empower plan. So just type in Daniela.vote/empower, Daniela.vote/secure, and another one, recover. So I've got some really great plans all laid out, and I'm ready to put them into action.
We will post those up on, there you go. We're going to post those up on our website and our plan on our social media platforms. And Daniela, thank you for between your meetings coming on. Have a great day. And we look forward to seeing you next week, right?
Woo-hoo. 5
All
more
right.
days.
5 more days. All right. Bye-bye,
All right.
Daniela.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
All right, where's Cedric? Cedric, why you been hiding this whole time? I don't know what's going on. Like, listen.
Y'all had me locked up. Y'all had me locked up backstage.
Oh, goodness, you had me running all by myself. We talked about co-hosts. Listen here, this water bottle been my co-host. Wait a minute. So talk to us, Cedric. I've been talking an hour. Talk to me. What do you think about the candidates? What you feel? Talk to us.
Well, I like all the questions were great. I think, and I appreciate that the candidates got right to the answers. The bare bones, like not a lot of fluff and talking around the subjects. Of course, some candidates bought some receipts, which we love receipts, but that's a whole nother situation.
Listen, what you said, they brought some receipts there. See, I'm not getting ready to go down this road with you. I'm trying
we won't go there.
I'm trying to keep my good job over here. I'm not
yes. But overall, everybody has great plans for the county and for their district specifically. And I appreciate that they all kind of have a sensitivity for CBOs in the urban core, and they do realize that they do need help. They need some funding, and even just if they just provide resources to help them continue to do their jobs, as they're doing them to serve the communities that they serve.
Well, I think, Cedric, I think Gepsie came out ready. She was locked and loaded. She came out, as you said, ready. They came in answering questions, ready to respond. I do think they seem to all appreciate the moment to kind of clear up any smear, or they seem to all appreciate that moment. Yes. We know that people are running. They're running for office. And right. So sometimes maybe things can be said that we need to understand. And Correct. So I'm glad we gave her that moment. But like you said, some people were saying in the chat, whoa. But I think Commissioner Hardemon came right back to let us know that, listen, I'm here. My track record speaks for itself. I have no reason to be dishonest. And as you suggest, had receipts in hand. But at the end of the day, we want who is going to represent us, who's going to have who's going to have a sensitivity for this community, who is going to fight for all sides, for the Upper East Side, for Morningside, for Little Haiti, for Overtown, Wynwood, who will fight for Liberty City. And so, voters, if you have not gone out to vote, especially those of you living in District 3, have interest in District 3, Chairwoman Edmondson has termed out or aged out. And so now we have 2 very qualified candidates. And we have Keon Hardemon and Gepsie Metellus, who is willing and prepared to represent you. Let's get out and turn in the vote. And then we must say, I was extremely impressed with Steve Bovo and Danielle Levine Cava. I thought that they spoke with much lucidity and clarity and transparency and what their agenda. They were very clear in that. We saw as one was heavy in pushing what government would look like, and one was heavy in pushing what services would look like. And so where you stand, Miami-Dade County as a whole, that you have to choose what best reflects your personal government, or do we want service? And how potentially do we have both? What do you have to say about that, Cedric?
Well, I appreciate that, from the presidential race on down, this time around, there are truly stark differences in the candidates and their perspectives. A lot of times it's kind of a lot of melting in the middle, and you can't really tell who's for what. But this time around, I can see in all the races, they're pretty much like, I won't say exact opposites, but very stark differences in each candidate's perspective, which makes you have a better understanding, like you said, of who will work for you, who do you think will work in your best interest. And I think that's especially kind of noticeable in the mayoral, because, one candidate says that, he just thinks government should be bare bones in terms of what it does, its function, where another candidate feels like, no, government can go a little further and do more in blanket community in terms of community service and other, other areas. So, that's something that people, had to kind of consider for themselves. What do they believe the role of government should be, and how would you want your county to facilitate under one perspective versus the other? So I think that was it's important that people pay attention and just kind of, like you say, vote for the perspective that you feel best would suit you and your family and your community.
And I think it's also significant to note that people gotta vote. Just vote.
Yes.
You gotta vote, guys, because your voice is your vote, or your vote is your voice. And
yes.
No more hair salon, barbershop. And I know we're limited because of COVID in that. But, those conversations that we're having, that things aren't what you want them to be. Well, this is your moment to have impact and influence. And I don't care. Yeah, you have the presidential election, but the most impactful starts here locally. Those are the things that affect. Those are the
on a daily basis.
That is what affects you on a daily basis. Well, guys, we are going to get out of here. We were scheduled to run this from 2:30 to 3:30, and we're right at 3:42. And I have to jump on Together for Children board meeting. And for those of you who are watching, we want to welcome you to the Together for Children Liberty City Brownsville Coalition. We have the pleasure of heading that group. We meet the third Wednesday of every month. And if you're interested where you can get involved locally and how we can have active change, and how we can be a part of policy implementation, and how we can get things changed within Liberty City, join us. And that number, if you want to know more about it, is 786-488-5512. 786-488-5512. All right, guys, thank you for joining us for In Focus. You can find this later on YouTube, on the I Am Liberty City YouTube channel. This will be posted there, but it's also now being streamed on all of our platforms. And so you're welcome to go back and review this and make your choice, if you haven't voted already, on who you'd like for District 3 and who you'd like to vote for mayor. All right, Cedric, you the man. Thank you. You're always a tremendous support. Thank you for generating such tremendous questions, always being that support that we could share. And we're going to say goodbye, man. Thank you very much, okay?
You're welcome. Thank you so much for a great broadcast and a great show. Very good.
All right, sir. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.